Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? It is Tuesday, printer people. And we're doing ourselves a nice little bit of unboxing. Got the, over there for now. I really got to clean my desk one of these days. One day we will clean the desk, but not this day. And yes, I got the camera working. For those that watch the stream on Sunday there, I think we kind of broke our camera. We unbroke it, I think. Are we good? Or is it doing the funky thing? Is it doing the funky chicken? Is it doing the thing? I can't tell. With the shadows? No, we're good. We're good. Okay. So I think we got our camera back to where it was before. We got our fancy zooms ins on my faces and the desk and whatnot. So we should be good. We should be good. I think we're good. Are we good? Desktop? Yeah, it's 4K. We're good. Okay. So yeah, the colors are better. So that means you can see the gray hair. I think a little bit, this stands out a little bit more now, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So what's going on today? What is going on today? Well, for one, we've got a box here. We're going to find out what's in the box. If you follow me on Twitter, you know what's in the box. Or if you read the description of the video, you know what's in the box. But also, for good measure, we're going to give away some printer food from Polymaker. So as always, we give away a spool of filament from Polymaker every stream. Link in the description, open worldwide. I think the contest is open now. Yes, it is. So go enter. And then let me pin that there because people always forget about it. There we go. Let me know if you need more mods. Yeah, so for those that don't know, I'm hoping this week or next week, the Nero 3D, I guess that's what it's going to be called, Discord will be public. Right now, the Discord is only members only. So if you're a YouTube member or Patreon supporter, you have access to it. There should be a link in the community pages there. But that will be going live in the next week or so. So I think we're just gonna, I'm hoping the community self-regulates and I don't need a ton of mods. Because I don't want to be another 33,000 person Discord I'm in charge of. Okay, so what are we doing today? What are we doing today? What are we doing? What are we doing? What is doing? Anyways, we're opening this box. This is a Voxelab, and I gotta correct myself because I just realized this today. I've been saying this wrong as long as I've known about this company. It's Voxelab. There's no two L's. I thought it was Voxelab for the longest time. It is Voxelab. I got that wrong. So it's the Voxelab Aries. Okay. Just hire Sanity. She's already hired. So what is the Voxelab Aries? Well, it's an FDM 3D printer. Hello, dancing baby. We're not doing a draw. You don't need to be here. And wow, oh yeah, because we played around with all this. 1 second here. Hello, there I am. Let me make me a little bit smaller. I forgot we played around with everything last stream. There we go. That works. Okay, so the Voxelab Aries, it's an FDM 3D printer. They actually reached out to me. They wanted to send me the Aquila. Is it the Aquila V2? I think it's the V2. Basically, I know that's the one more people are talking about, but it's a V-wheel bed flinger. I wanted something different. I like looking at the different things. I haven't seen a lot about this printer. I know it's not brand new, but it's different. And that's what I like. So we're going to take a look at it. So if you're curious about it, I got a link in the description. But what it is, it's not a Core XY. So people already said it was a Core XY. It's not Core XY. But it's a 200 millimeters cubed, heated bed. And they call it the Aries STEM. So I guess it's out of stock. But I guess it's kind of aimed at like an entry-level educational printer for like schools or something like that. That's what appears to be what their marketing is. It has Wi-Fi. I'm not 100% sure how the Wi-Fi works with it, if there's like a web interface or what. We're going to take a look. Only half your polymer is a link. Let me see here. Let me see. Nope, the link works. It's the want to get some hands on some great filament, check out channels, help out the channel at the same time. That link right there, with the little parentheses that say affiliate next to it, seems to be working. I just copy pasted it and it seemed to work, so unless the other link doesn't work. I'll look into it later. I just copy and pasted it, it seemed to work, so. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So, do I gotta move the camera up? I gotta move the camera up. Shoot. Or is the camera down? I don't know. We're just gonna leave the camera where it's at for now. I had to move it all when I was fixing everything. Oh, it's okay. Well, just copy the whole thing. So, how we're gonna do this, I think this is how we're gonna do unboxings going forward, and this is kind of how I've been doing it. We're gonna open the printer up out of the box, take it out, and then we're gonna open the printer up. So we're gonna take a look at the electronics, take a look at the tool head, because I'm gonna be very critical about safety in printers going forward. For those that don't know, there's currently a lawsuit going on in California because somebody, basically the family of somebody who bought a Tronxy, I think it was the X5, it caught fire and it, you know, led to the death of somebody. So I'm going to be super critical right now about printers and safety going forward. So anytime I do an unboxing, we're going to open the printer up and we're going to check everything. So before we even print. So we got a manual here. I got a little piece of paper. Power unit, okay, is 115. It should be selected by switch before power on. Select the correct input voltage to match your local mains. Okay, that's good to know. Got some cardboard. It's recyclable. That's good. Save the whales. Ah, good. I love it when they do this. I love it when companies do this. You ready? This is how you package a printer. Okay. The Bambu is the same way. Okay. You put it in a big bag. Okay. And you just grab the bag and pull it out. Bag could have been better. It started to give, but we made it. So this comes fully assembled. This comes fully assembled. Okay. So we shouldn't have to do much in terms of assembly. So that is that. So let's see. So it's showing here $339 to $479 US. Let me see if I can find it on Amazon. Okay, so this machine on Amazon.com is about 400 US, it looks like. So if you're just curious about the price, about 400. Is a cube, exactly. That's why, because they're like, hey, we want to send you the equivalent. I'm like, you know, I'm sure it's a great printer. A lot of people have done reviews on it. People said it's a decent printer. It's a V-wheel bed flinger, like. And they're like, well, we have this one. I'm like, you know what? I'll take a look at this one. So we got that. Okay. So take off all the little pieces of plastic. This just come out. Okay, I guess this just comes out. We got some tools. Okay, so I'm assuming it's going to be turn on and pull this out. So let's, you know what? We're going to go at it how they say. Where is the manual? Because there's zip ties and whatnot. So I want to see if they mention zip ties. Oh, okay, I got a little SD card. That was in something. Oh man, I built it already. I did. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, they got color pictures too. Open the box, take the manual out, take the bag out, take that out, hold the platform and lift it carefully to remove the foam below. Okay. Discard the protective wraps all around. Oh, it does say cut the zip ties. Did it give me cutters? Did it give me cutters? Let's take a look. Did you give me cutters? They did not! Oh no! They did not give me cutters. Guys, how else, where else am I gonna get another one of these? Like, I only have... I've only got like 6 of these. What? I could have used the 7th. Damn it. Okay. So cut that. Yeah, probably be easier if I come in from a better direction. That. Garbage. Please tear off before using. Okay, how is this? Oh man, they got it like wrapped all the way around. There. So we got the our old pal, the carborundum bed, the glass carborundum bed. You know what it is. I know what it is. It's super common. Okay. Their side near the rear of the gantry. Oh, and there's some on this side too. Don't accidentally cut the belts. That would be bad. Caution, remove before first use. I can do that. Please don't cut the belts. Okay. And then there is another one up here. There we go. So they zip tie the belts together so nothing moves. Okay. Oh, there's one back here too. Should realize it'd be on both sides. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So that's the machine unpacked. It's all pre-built, pre-assembled. Do not make any modifications to the printer. To avoid personal injury or property damage, please ensure your operations followed by the manual. Dress properly. Do not wear loose clothing or jewelry, keeping your hair, clothing, and gloves away from moving parts. That's good to know. Do not touch the nozzle. Do not put the printer on a shaking place. That's right. Keep it away from shaking places, guys. Never use the printer for illegal activities. That's a no-no. Follow the rules. Follow the law. Never put the printed model into mouth. That's good to know. It's good to know. So we got some, what else we got here? We got some diagrams. So it's saying max temperature 160 or 260 for the hot end. We're going to check and see if it's an all metal. I got a feeling it's PTFE. A lot of time it is. So everything is in Chinese and English in the manual. Ooh, there's your controller board. I don't know what kind that is. Let's open it up. So, we got a spare nozzle, a spare, yeah, shoot. Yep, we got a spare nozzle, we got a spare knob. This is manual bed leveling. There is no probe. Got some sample filament, transparent red, fancy. The little poker thing everyone stabs himself with. Some grease, power cable, a little bit of Allen keys, and a good old-fashioned spatula. And there was something in there, and I just stabbed myself. That hurt. I'm bleeding. Okay, so is that bed stable? Yeah, it's got some movement to it, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Me as a 180 something pound human, I can move this bed, yes. When you have a somewhat light print on it, is that going to move the bed? No. So as long as the bed is stable during printing operations. This machine I don't think is a speed demon, so I don't think we need to worry about it like shaking. Now if it wobbles, it wobbles. We don't know yet. Initial construction, this is not Core XY, okay? This is not Core XY, people. So you have, I don't know if you got 1 or 2 motors in the back here linked together, but basically your Y motion is a motor, and then you have a separate motor right here for your X motion, okay? The X rails are 8 mil rods, and they are on, are they 8 mil? They gotta be 8 mil. Yeah, so those are 8 mil, but our Y rods are 6 mil. So, or correction, Y rods are 8, these ones are 6 mil. It is Bowden. The tool head does have some flex to it. The belts are, yeah, they're tensioned. End stops, clicky end stops, nothing fancy there. Our Z is lead screw on MG or LMU 10s. The bed is a PCB bed. I got a zip tie under here. I got a cut, I think. The Z has an optical end stop. To the Z is optical for some reason instead of a clicky switch. Okay, is what it is. And the Z appears to drop under its own weight quite easily. Okay. I think it homes to Z negative anyways, so. Okay. So on the back here. Filament assembly. Okay, install the printer. Install the material rack on the back. That just kind of goes there. Put the filament in. So it's your extruder right here. Is a single gear feed. This is the extruder. It's an ender extruder. It's the single drive gear. Although the feed gear is curved, so it's like a Mark 8 extruder gear, and then it's a curved idler. Okay. So that is that. Let's open it up. Okay, so first thing first. How do I take this out? So I don't think there's really anything on the back. let's go right to underneath, I guess. So how can I do this without... So yeah, as you can see, the weight of the bed is enough to move it. And it is clipped on. So... So how's everyone doing today? How's everyone's week going so far? I know it's only Tuesday afternoon, but... Ooh, that one's tight. Okay, so that's under the hood. So we've already got it, it's already set to 115. This is what we got under the hood here. Okay, so we got a power supply. It's a Meanwell LRS 350/24, so that's good to see. The controller board is not anything I'm familiar with. Driver board V1.0.3. I'm pretty sure it has 2225s. They're TMC drivers. So, end stop. It's got a little fan here, keeping that cool. There's your Z motor. X, Y, Z. Drivers are heat sinked. It says Aquila head, so I'm assuming that's Toolhead there. So the only connector I'm worried about, I think, because I'm pretty sure this is for power, is this guy. So let's pop one of these out and see what kind of fitting we got, if it's tinned or not. It's tinned. They're always tinned. So here's the thing. A lot of these are done automatically, right? Like if you're building machines, you don't have somebody on the line sitting there cutting and crimping wires all day. Okay, you don't. What you do is all these wires are pre-made by like a machine. A machine cuts them and crimps them. So what they do is whenever they have a wire that just ends like this and it's bare and it goes into something, they tin them. And that way it doesn't get all flayed. That way the person making minimum wage on the assembly line doesn't have to sit there and twist it and put it in. They just put it in. It just goes through a little tin bath and it just gets dunked. And that makes sure you don't have any frayed wires. That's why they tin them, okay? Now, in a perfect world, it's not a big issue. The problem you can run into potentially is the tin, the solder, if it heats up, right? If this connection heats up, it can soften the solder, and it's a crush fitting. So if you have something that's crushed and held in there, as it heats up and cools down, if that solder starts to reflow a little bit or soften, what can happen is the actual compression lessens and weakens and weakens and weakens, and eventually, hey, this might fall out. Now, that might never happen. If the connection doesn't heat up and cool down, it'll never happen. But if it does, you have an issue. So in a perfect world, I would like to see a ferrule on there. But this is such a common occurrence across the board. Like, it's like everyone does it. And then up front here, we have our touchscreen and USB breakout. Wiring does look very good. I've got no like wires flopping around everywhere. Everything's zip tied in place. The only thing I can see that I can fault on this, got a little heat sink for the MOSFET there. The only thing I could really fault on this is the tinning, which is super common. What is the controller? The controller is an N32G? I have no idea what that controller is. I'm assuming it's running Marlin of some sort. Yeah. So yeah. So that, it could be better. It could also be worse. Could be better, could be worse. And 32, yeah. Okay. And I'm hoping the noise canceling is working. I've got the Bambu is printing away right now. The X1's printing away, doing a multicolor print. So I'm hoping the noise cancellation takes care of it. It's the same controller from the Voxelab Aquila. It makes sense. It says Aquila on it. So. Okay, so that is that. How do I take this out? Got a stupid little compression fitting on here. I don't know if I could take the Bowden tube out. It's got this stupid ring on it. Yeah. I can feel the Z dropping on this. Is it dropping? It's dropping. Okay. Let's take a look in the back, see what we got for a Z setup. Or for the So while I'm doing this, if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure you enter link in the description. Giving away some Polymaker filament at the end of the stream today. Okay. We'll just do that. Okay. So it looks like we got, yeah. So it's one motor for the Y motion, and it is belted up to like a bar, it looks like. I can't see it because it's covered behind stuff, but we got one Y motor. There's the extruder. It's in its own housing. The whole body's injection molded. This really isn't a modded, like, you can't really, I'm sure there's a few tool heads out there, but you're not going to be doing much with this machine besides running it stock, I think. And judging by the fact it has STEM in the name, I think that's kind of what it's aimed at. Okay. Let's put our fancy spool holder on. Okay, that's on. And lastly, we'll take a look at the tool head. See what we're working with here. How does this come apart? Okay, I got 1, 2, 3. I have 4 screws in the back. Is that it? Is that all I got? I don't want to take off too much, because I don't know what's actually holding it all together. Yeah, this definitely is a, it looks like a machine that's, it's got STEM in the title. Like, I think you can kind of tell what the market is for this printer. Okay, so this front shroud literally just comes straight off. So we got a little controller board here. Yeah, it's a Creality hotend. It's that red heat sinked Creality style hotend. We've got a 40 mil fan for part cooling, or for heat sink cooling, and a 40 millimeter blower style for part cooling. And it's the red heat sink Creality, so I'm assuming. Can't really push this down. Okay, well, I'm gonna assume it's PTFE. I'm gonna assume it's not an all metal hotend. It makes no sense that this would be all metal. So there we go. And we do have, there is a slot up here for BL Touch. I don't know where you would mount it, but this controller board, breakout board, does have a thing for BL Touch. And there is an LED that lights up, I guess. So. Go. So, initial thoughts looking at the hardware, does feel like a there is some cost savings done to this, cost cutting to keep costs down. That is apparent. The actual, we don't have bearings on the Y or on the X. The Y has bearings, LM8U bearings. But our X-axis is actually brass bushings, which makes sense that they would give us some white lithium grease here. Yeah, it's a Mark 8 extruder. So, it looks fine. Like, I got nothing, I can't really, a little bit of grease on it. Oh, yeah, from that. It appears to be a budget printer aimed at that market. The bed is removable. You got these little pull down clamps there, so you can remove the glass bed if you want to. But yeah, it looks like a budget entry level printer. And I don't know if that whining is my dog or the printer. It is the printer. Okay. So let's see what we got to do now. So we've already selected, pretty sure we got it selected for 115. Yep, 115, we're good there. It does feel pretty solid. Like it is all plastic, but it does feel pretty solid. It's a PTFE hot end. So while it would be nice to, you know, throw some panels on here and print some ABS, you're gonna need a hat of some sort because of these wires. And yeah, there's, you probably could enclose this pretty easily, but it's not an all metal hot end. I wouldn't be printing above 240, so. The very first thing it's got is power on, so let's give it some juice. Ooh. There's a blue LED in the toolhead. It says Voxelab now. $2.99 in the UK. No, torque spider. So the patent for enclosed printers, a lot of people don't understand what the patent was fully. Basically, oh, it plays a little jingle on boot up. You weren't allowed to have an enclosed printer with the motors outside the enclosure with a heated chamber. So this wouldn't count because there's motors in the chamber and it's not a heated chamber. So you could have enclosed this. Okay, so language. Well, it's in English, so we're good there. How to use the nuts. Build plate goes up, build plate goes down. Control. Level. Oh. See, guys, it's just like the stealth burner. It's got an LED in the tool head for lighting things up below. It's practically a stealth burner. It's the Flash Forge tune. Oh, okay. Is that Zed wobbling? Yeah, it looks okay. It came with the thumb drive, and I don't know where I put it. I don't know if I trust the thumb drive with the Ago thumb drive with no markings on it, but we'll see. Okay, I need a piece of paper. Good thing I threw out all the paper that came with this printer. Oh, I played another jingle. There we go, piece of paper. Okay. So this actually, how this works on this printer, it's got 3-point bed leveling. The rear middle point is fixed. I can't adjust it. You can only adjust these two. So it goes over this point, and you basically... Okay. Okay, next. Okay, bed drops. Then it's going to move to this, and then I adjust it. Wolfgang, hello there. How you doing? Okay. Okay, move to the next one. Fancy, fancy. It's singing for me, guys. It's a singing printer. Complete. Calibration is stored. Extruder is homing. No noise canceling? I do have noise canceling on. Does a clown pop out? I don't think so. I don't know where it would be. So it does home to Z negative, which kind of sucks. But is what it is. Okay. So that's all leveling, loading filament. Let's get some filament in this. What are we going to print with? What are we going to print with? Because it came with some, but we're not going to bother. Let's do some green. Let's do some Jesse. I haven't done printed with the Jesse PLA in a bit. Let's do some Jesse. Okay. So that appears there. Loading filament. Please ensure that the filament is loaded in an appropriate approach. Okay. I don't have a lot of Polymaker PLA. Actually, I've only got the one spool. No, I've got two spools and one's loaded in here. And it's the teal, which I always use. So we're going to do some green. I want something that shows up good on camera. So I hate loading these. So it is a Bowden. Okay, so control. Oh, okay, there we go. Load. So it's heating up. Extruder is heating. By the way, nomenclature, terminology. The extruder is the thing that pushes the filament. The hot end is the hot part. So the extruder is on the back of the printer here. This thing on the back here, this is the extruder. This is just the hot end. So when it's saying extruder is heating up, it's incorrect. It's like people who call their computers the CPU or the tower. Well, I guess the tower makes sense. But like calling a computer, oh, it's the CPU. Bowden isn't a fault. It's just a different method of extruding. You can get away with a lot lighter, like, you don't need to have as beefy of a tool of a motion system if you go with Bowden. So while that's heating up, a word from our sponsors. Actually, it's not really a sponsor, but they do a giveaway, and a giveaway of Filament. And I know you guys like printer food because you like 3D printers because you're here. I'm assuming you like 3D printers if you're here. But either way, if you want to get yourself a spool of Polymaker Filament, link in the description. And also, while you're in the description, if you're interested about this printer right here, there's a link to Voxelab Labs, their website for this printer. If you would like to learn more about it, shout out to them for sending that printer. Today, again, they sent me this printer for the purposes of this video. Rules or words and opinions are my own. I have not been paid for this. Yada, 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 standard YouTube spiel. I like Doggo. I like Doggo too, but I'm the only one home and he's moping by the front door. So. Oh, it's dribbling something. They had something loaded up in there before. And then also in the description, while you're down there, go ahead and like that smash button. If you want to help support the channel, the content I create, the things I do, there's links in the description as well. Affiliate links don't cost you anything extra, and if you buy something, it helps the channel out. Ooh, that's coming out good. I don't see any need for Bowden, reverse Bowden, but not Bowden. Not every machine, like this machine would probably suck with a direct feed setup. Like how light this gantry system is. The extruder shakes when it's feeding. Like, it's straight up shook. Press OK. Okay. We got that. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. So now, it's loaded. First print. Sure the build plate has been leveled. Please clean extruder before printing. Okay. Decompress, so... Ooh! Oop, nope, that way. Build. So you do have the option, it looks like. Actually, you only have the option. It has a USB stick. I don't think it takes SD card. USB device. Model. So I got a test hook and an Aries motion test. Okay, so we got that. It's disk, nothing on disk. Okay. So we got that. Do we want to print the test model or do we want to actually print something? Let's put the scary USB of, you know, Xi Jinping gonna know where my printer is now. Ugh. I got no personal information on this computer, so we should be okay. Okay, so how big is this drive anyways? How big is this? This PC? It's an 8 gig thumb drive. Wow. Remember when we thought 8 gigs was huge on a thumb drive? By the way, I think I missed one. I heard the noise. Gary Putnam! Murph Beer Fun. Yes, 5. Cheers. Anyone else here going to Murph? I'm going to Murph. What is the volume? It's 200 millimeters cubed. So software. So they have their own slicer. That's a no for me, dog. We're going to be using Cura. Cura is kind of my go-to for commercial machines. So let's load up Cura 5 and see what we got. Misa gonna be there. So I do want to do a kind of get together, I think on the Saturday, because Saturday is kind of the day when most people will be there. So I think that's kind of what we're going to aim for. I don't know what, it's not going to be a massive get together. It's just going to be like hangout type thing, but. Okay. So when I remember in grade 9 or 10, well, I was in grade 9 or 10, I got a 128 megabyte thumb drive, and I paid over $100 for it. I remember that. And then I got a PSP, and then I had to buy the Sony memory sticks, and those were just absurd how expensive they were. Okay. So it doesn't look like Cura has Voxelabs in here. They got Borons, but no Voxelab. Huh. Okay, I guess you gotta use... Well, we'll try their slicer, see what they got. Software, Voxelab, Windows 64... Gee, funny money, Murph 2020. And the member month is broke. Yeah, it's usually like a month behind, it says. My current keyboard has more memory than my PC. I honestly believe that. So I think you have to use their slicer, so whatever, we'll install it. Next, install. If the computer crashes and I start mining Bitcoin, it's blame Voxel. Okay, so now it's called Voxel Maker. Okay, this is okay. The printer is Vox Lab. There's one L. One L. But the slicer is Voxel Maker, which implies that this is supposed to, there should be 2 L's. Okay, I gotta update a new version. Apparently the one I have is out of date. So is it Voxel Lab? And you say the L twice? Because it's not Vox Maker, it's Voxel Maker. Because I know Vox Labs is FlashForge, essentially. This is like the budget FlashForge, basically. But still. Is there... No, Vox Lab is not in Cura. Nice 3DP, $2. Murph Whiskey Fund. My man. Okay, close all that, close all that. Launch Vox Maker. There we go. Okay. So, this looks very simple. Load. Let's do a jiggly jellyfish. Does it even know what printer this is? Oh. That's too big. Okay, so what? Preferences? Cool. Do you know what printer this is? Machine type. Oh, okay, there you go. Aries. Wow, that's kind of... And we got a 0.4 nozzle. Okay. PF Dennis gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers. And MK, thank you for becoming a member. If you guys are new members, link in the description, or go to the community page on YouTube, and you'll find a link to the Discord. This is a very simple slicer. Let's do the Cali Dragon. I really like the Cali Dragon. Put it on the platform. Yep. And then scale. Like, wow, this slicer is very... is there... Control panel? Yeah. Connect machine. Because I know it's got Wi-Fi. Settings. Let's see if we get the Wi-Fi working. Okay. So Wi-Fi. Turn the Wi-Fi on. Scanning. Okay. Look at my password. Okay, so we're connected. Okay, so we're connected to the Wi-Fi. Connect mode, rescan. Connection failed, okay. Like I'm connected to tools. Automatic. Oh. Connect. Oh, hey, there's the printer. Okay. So that's cool. So just to make sure, yep. Okay, so that works. Okay. Cool, I guess. That's cool. Andy's Corner, thank you for coming a member. And Jaws of Joey, 5. Cheers. Print Death Darth Jar Jar. Now we're gonna do, I like the dragon. That's kind of my go-to test model right now. And then Dragonfly, thank you for coming a member. Do you up your temps? I've been printing with the same temps with the Revo. So I'm trying to find a way. Is there a way to adjust settings? Preferences? Okay, well, let's print. Oh, here you go. Okay, you hit print and it all pops up. Okay, layer height, sure. I'm just gonna run defaults. We're just gonna go default PLA YOLO, whatever the default is. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it uses a GX, so you gotta use their slicer, it looks like. Save. Send G-code. Okay, so it's saying receive file. It's saying holy blown out exposure Batman. Okay, abort file. Ooh, something went wrong during sending printing file. Try again. Oh, you can't see the loading bar. It's 40%, 43, 44, 47, 50, 52, 55, 58. Doesn't quite want to make it. Abort file transfer. Okay. We'll try one more time, and if not, send G code. What's the X one? It's printing a rubber ducky. And I had my first fail on it. I'll admit, I had my first fail with the X1. I was printing this model, and because... okay, it's printing. Oh, it's heating up. What happened was, the model I'm printing is a rubber ducky here. Actually, wait, I don't have it loaded up anymore. I needed yellow. Well, the only yellow PLA I have, and I would have done ABS, but I don't even have yellow ABS, is the Replitech stuff, which is really good PLA. The problem is, this spool is too chungus for the AMS. So I actually took I took an empty spool that I had and I spun a bunch of filament onto it, just so I could feed it. The problem was, it broke and it jammed up the AMS, and I had to start over basically. So I'm not using this because a whole bunch of the filament like snapped, I guess. So yeah, that sucked because the print was almost done. Yeah, I got this far. And then it's like, oh, fail. I'm like, shit. So it started flashing orange at me. I didn't know, it didn't give me a warning, it just stopped working. So I power cycled it, I fed it a different yellow, and it just pushed the old stuff out because it broke, and whatever. The filament broke. The filament broke in the feed path somewhere. Or it, actually, I think what actually happened is it pulled the filament in and then detected it ran out. And then I tried like feeding it in again and it wouldn't like pick it up again. It went like, it just shut down. It went like, bleh. So. Have you changed any of the things? Yeah, I've played around with some of the purge amounts. So when I'm purging to black, I don't purge as much as when I'm purging away from black, I'm purging more. And it seems to be working pretty okay. Should I wipe this down? Yeah, whatever. Good enough. Well, duck it. Exactly. Should sell. You know what? I've been throwing them in the bin. I'm going to start collecting them, though. I do want to try out a filament maker at some point. I don't know who. That's like one of the things I'm trying to get the garage set up for, is for that kind of stuff. More industrial type stuff. Okay, this right here. Are you ready? This pisses me off. Okay. When you cut a zip tie, you cut it flush. Okay. You do not leave a little bit, because that's how you slice your arms open. Believe me. That is like my biggest pet peeve. One of my biggest pet peeves. People who do not cut zip ties flush. Go. Merv 10, cheers. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for the content. Cheers. When I worked in injection molding, you'd have your injection mold, you'd have all these water lines. So it'd be all this hosing on the outside for water lines, right, going all the different circuits, and you would just zip tie them together and bundle them up for just keep everything within the plates and whatnot and management. And sometimes you'd have to take it all off or get in there with your hands and whatnot, and you would get people that would take the zip ties and they would just cut them. They wouldn't cut them flush, and you're trying to reach in there to like pop a fitting off because like one water line's leaking or something, and as you're pulling your arm out, you just down the whole side of your arm, and you're just like, everything's covered in grease and oil, and you're wet, and it's like, ooh. Make a very bad day. I'm just gonna mail your P.O. box a bunch of non-flush zip ties. Ooh, it's evil. I'm thinking pizza tonight. So what are we doing? What are we doing? It's heating up. The bed's heating up. We're going to 210 on the bed. Do I have baby stepping? I do not. We do not have baby stepping. Machine is busy, so I can't seem to connect to the machine. Yeah, this is a very basic slicer. Like, this is a pretty basic slicer. 210, oh, 210 on the hot end, sorry. 60 on the bed. English is words. Okay, it doesn't do a prime line, it just goes right into printing. Okay, let me find some boxes so I can stack a camera up so you can kind of see what's going on. Because the problem is with these kind of printers is I don't think you really get a good angle a lot of times. Is one box high enough? No. Two boxes. Polymaker to the rescue. There we go. So it says it's about a 2-hour print. I gotta leave at exactly 5 to go pick up the little guy at daycare, so yeah. Voron purge line code? Sure. It's pretty simple. Pull it up here. Printers. V226. I don't know what LVO V2. Printer.cog. Actually, no, it'd be under the macros. So you want the purge line. This is my nozzle purge line there. So if you want the actual the prime right there, that's it. Easy peasy. Pause this, write it, copy it in your notebooks, kids. Some longer. Wow, this is actually a really good camera. Like, this is actually a pretty decent tripod for. It's a C920, guys. I'm not gonna go out and buy it super expensive. Plus, it needs to be small enough I can fit on my desk. What happened to the KP3S? It's right here. It's sitting right here. It's just right now I'm playing with the Bambu. So I actually I might extend the Z on it. Like right now, are you okay? So we've got. Are you guys ready for this? We got the Voxel, okay, the Voxelab Aries, the Bambu. We got the switch wire, a V2, a Trident. There's the resin printers. Bonsai and the V1.8 are down there. Tallboy, the Micron. There's two V2s behind the Micron. Over here is another, or correction. There's a V0 behind the Micron. Two V0s behind the Micron. Another V0 here. Here's the V Minion. There's the KP3S. There's the Mini, the Prusa Mini. And then the actual Prusa is, the Mark III is in the other room right now. I don't have room, and I think I got like 2 or 3 more printers on the way. I don't know what I'm going to do. Are you saying one doesn't mean no? Oh God, no. If I wasn't doing the YouTube thing, I would not have this many printers. Like, I have way more printers than I need. But that's the channel. Like, this. Let's be honest. This would be a very boring channel if I didn't have 3D printers to do stuff with on a 3D printing YouTube channel. Like, I'm not Mr. Beast. I can't pull that kind of shit off, unfortunately. Would be cool. Okay, let's play around with this and get the focus right. No. Okay, configure video. Control. Okay, so we're gonna have you sit right about there. And focus. Auto focus off, manual focus on. There we go. Apply. Okay. There we go. Do I know the brand Fukus? I do know of them. I haven't really looked too much into them because again, I don't really follow the bed flingers. I know it's not a V-wheel bed flinger, or at least I know like the X and Y aren't, or something like that. I know of them. I think they reached out to me when they came out with their very first printer, and I don't know if I replied or if I think I passed on it just because I was like at the time I'm like this, but we'll see. 199 Thomas, shovel fund, exactly. Okay, oh, so what was wrong with the camera? For those that don't know, last stream, we realized that the colors on this camera, the main camera, were really off. And I had mentioned that the camera was previously used by somebody who used it for photography. So we figured the settings for like color exposures and whatnot were probably not optimal. So I did a factory reset on it. The problem is that broke the camera. I couldn't adjust f-stop, a bunch of settings were all out. It turns out I had to go into the settings and enable manual control for movie mode or video mode. Because it was in program auto, so I couldn't override anything because it's like, it's automatic, shut up, deal with it. So I had to go in and put it into manual mode, and then it worked. So. The problem with the garage, it's not really an optimal place. Like I have to get I gotta get all the electrical redone out there. Because a lot of the electrical was done by the previous owner of this house and they did not do a good job. So I gotta redo all the electrical, I gotta insulate it all. And even then, it buys me another room like this. That's basically it. So it's going to be good for like, I'm hoping to get into more CNC stuff and whatnot. But like the printer stuff will be in this room. Because the problem is heating and cooling a garage. Like it's an uninsulated garage and I live in Canada. So yeah. I have been keeping an eye out. I have been keeping an eye out for like a place to rent. Nothing fancy, but there's just nothing around me. There is nothing. I did find one thing and it was $2,500 a month. So, if you want to help support the channel, consider becoming a member. Because we're going to have to like, you know, triple our numbers and that might make sense at that point. Storage unit. Problem is it needs to have decent electrical and it's got to be heated and cooled. That's the problem. Would a house be cheaper? Heck no. In today's economy, renting a one-bedroom apartment, one, there's none around me. I live in the burbs. There's no like industrial park near me or anything like that. So renting like a one-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment is like $1,100 a month right now. Just do an RV. Go set up in a farm field. The printers will take care of the heating. Start going into production. So I will say, this printer is quieter than the X1. Now, granted, it's moving pretty dang slow compared to the X1, but it is quieter than the X1. Treehouse time. Why have chamber heating when you can do room heating? Exactly. What about the backyard shed? I'd have to cut down trees, run electrical out there, and building code means I can't build within, I think it's 3 meters of a fence, which severely limits where I could build, and basically I would lose my entire backyard. And again, I live in the burbs. It's not like I live out with land. The thing is, I don't know if we can octoprint this. Because I don't know what my settings are. Let's see here. Can I pull up anything in this? Tools, control panel, machines. Okay. So you can't get into the printer control while the printer is printing. Onboard preferences, Aries. Whatever. The software seems a little basic. You can octoprint it, yeah, because this is running its own sauce, I think. Looks like standard Cartesian. Yeah, this is not Quarks Y. This is Cartesian. So you have one motor in the back here that's connected to a drive that drives both your Y belts forward and back. And then you got one motor right here for your X-axis. So it's Cartesian. This is not a Quarks Y. Swap the board for an SKR Pico. Yeah, you could always do that. That's the funny thing. Like, what a lot of people a lot of people don't realize how 3D printers are pretty much all the same. Even the Bambu. I could throw an SKR in that bitch and just run Clipper on it if I really wanted to. The hardware doesn't matter. They're all NEMA 17s. They all use the same type of heaters. They all use the same type of end stops. Like, or in this case, it's sensorless, but you could just throw any controller in any printer with the right config and it'll work, really. It doesn't... If a printer is all locked down, you know, you can take that Markforge or whatever, or not Markforge, that MakerBot that's got its own custom proprietary stuff that you have to use their slicer. You can rip that out and throw a Duet in there and just run whatever if you really wanted to. Is this slow-mo mode? This is whatever the default PLA profile is. SKR Pico and a Prusa Mini. That would make no sense to do because you could just flash Clipper on it already, which we're probably going to end up doing anyways. 3DHB, hello there. Donald Slayers. Got my serial number. V2 3744. Jeez. I still got to get a serial for the Micron, which is a V2 serial, and I still got to get a serial for the LDO V2. I haven't put in for it yet. Oh yeah, this is slow. I forgot to see what the speed settings were. Let's well, I can't because it's okay. Go back, I guess. Print. Okay, so base print speed 60 millimeters a second. Travels are 80 millimeters a second. Oh. Perimeter, 2 perimeters, infill. And it runs infill slower? Why would you have infill run slower than your outer wall speeds? Why? It's infill. Infill, you over extrude and you send it. 0.4 nozzle, infill. Set it to 0.8 and just YOLO, go. If it under extrudes, you're still gonna over extrude. Just send it. It's infill, who cares? Would it be okay to PM you a screenshot of the start of a design mod? Yeah, go for it if you want. I'm not a CAD person, so I don't know what I can do, but if you want to show me something, sure. I need to make sure the infill looks good. Voxelab. Yep, this is the Vox. Well, we haven't decided. Is it Voxelab or Vox Lab or Voxelab? Because the slicer is Voxel Maker. So it's obviously Voxel, so that it's not Voxelab, it's Voxelab. It's not even gyroid infill. It's grid. Or no, it's or honeycomb. Which, by the way, honeycomb is not fast. You see fast honeycomb? It's not fast. There's too many direction changes in it. Voxelab. But then there's 2 L's. Voxelab. Voxelab. It's Voxlab. It's the Voxlab. I will say it's you know, it's printing fine. It's a little slow, but you know what? It's working. The infill speed is dog slow. It is, so base print speed is 60. So Infill is 70% of 60 millimeters a second. And the travels are 80 millimeters a second. We're gonna bump those up a little bit for the next couple prints. Yeah. Heat warning issued. Ooh. Oh hey, I'm live on my channel right now. I love when I get an email from YouTube going, hey, you are live on your channel. Never heard of Voxelab? Aquila. The Aquila, is it? Is their more common one, I think. Let me pull up their website here. And remember, if you haven't entered for the draw for the Polymaker Filament, make sure you do that. We're going to draw at the end of stream, which is around 5 p.m. Eastern. So this printer is the one we're looking at now. The link's in the description if you want to take a look. But they do the Aquila. This is the more common one that I've seen people really liked. And they got a whole different... See, this is the thing. Like, they offered this one to me originally. I'm like... It's a V-wheel bed flinger. We've seen a million of these. Like, there's nothing to this that jumps out and makes me go, oh my god, I want to try that. So I'm like, it's just an ender. But they're like, oh, what about the Aries? And I'm like, okay, this looks different. We'll take a look at the Aries. We'll take a look. Honestly, this printer, I'm not gonna lie, my neighbor mentioned his daughter was interested in 3D printing and she has like a little 3D printing pen. I might just give this printer to her. I'm obviously gonna go through and make sure it's you know, safe and good, but that's probably where this printer will end up. Because if it's super simple and easy to use for, you know, somebody, a young, almost teenager. Well, they have a big list of printers. But the problem is, we have the Aries, which, you know, it's different. We got a V-wheel bed flinger, a different V-wheel bed flinger, another V-wheel bed flinger, some sort of V-wheel bed flinger, and another V-wheel bed flinger. This one has a removable PI flex plate, it looks like. This one looks like this one, but the extrusions are like... Seen one, seen them all. Those are the printers that, like, I get probably 1 or 2 emails a week from some random company offering me a V-wheel bed flinger to look at, and I'm like, no, there's nothing I can do to make it look interesting. Yeah, this is PTFE line. Oh, and the generic resin print. Yep, the Cheeto box resin printers. Like, here's the thing. People have said good things about this, the Aquila. A lot of people have said good things because apparently, I can't remember which model. It was cheaper than an Ender 3 V2 and it worked just as good. So a lot of people were liking it. These are your generic Cheeto box, like, yeah. I got the whale back there. The whale at least doesn't run Cheeto box, so that's different. Yeah, this is PTFE line. It's a it's the same heat, or it's the same hot end that the Ender uses. It's the red heater block with standoffs. Build volume is 200 millimeters cubed. Well, the X1 isn't a tool changer. That's the big thing with the Prusa, is the tool changer. Believe me, even though you can do the AMS is actually pretty solid on the, so far in my experience, the AMS is pretty solid. You still waste a ton of filament and you still can't do multi-material properly. You can do multicolor, but that's all PLA up there. I don't have, you know, ABS hips and polycarbonate and a flexible. You can't do that with this kind of setup. Like, there's still downsides to single nozzle. This printer is pretty quiet. The loudest part on this printer is the fan. The fans are the loudest part of this printer. Do I own or rent? I owe the bank money on my house, but I own it. Bowden? Yep, it's a Bowden setup. Got ourselves a extruder on the back there. What's the cheapest auto tool changer? Off the shelf commercial? I don't know, the E3D one? The tool changers are not super common. IDEXs are more common. IDEXs are easier to do. But yeah. You just put a question in my head. How does the XL handle nozzle temps? One's not currently used. I don't have an XL. I've only ever seen the one. And it's the one you've all seen because it's the one they bring to all the shows. But they just drop the temperatures. So something like a Revo would be really good. Low thermal mass, but a more responsive heater. You could drop the temperature, it won't ooze as much. But it basically what it does is when it parks, it drops the temperature a little bit, and then it heats back up, does a little prime, and then it goes and prints. So you still have a prime tower instead of a purge tower, but it's not as wasteful as flushing nozzles. Thoughts on the Trident IX? It's cool. I might convert my Trident into one in the future. We'll see. It's not Core XY. It's got, you can see the X motor right there. It's not Core XY. It's Cartesian. You got, each axis is driven by one or a pair of motors. They don't work, you don't have, motors aren't driving more than one axis on this machine. Yeah, I'm totally doing pizza tonight, I think. Gonna be lazy. Yeah, somebody did there is a mod for the Trident, I want to say? Is it a Trident? I can't remember if it's a Trident or a V1.8. That it makes it multi-material, but... But yeah, it's a mod, it's not official. Pineapple pizza? No. What do you take me for? Is the rigidity good? This printer's a noodle. Like, the Toolhead, you could shake it, but at these speeds, you don't need super high rigidity. This is not a fast printer. Pineapple. I can't even stand pineapple by itself. What is the best way to do remote access? Like, are you talking outside of your home network? I personally don't touch that. But there are ways to do it. But I don't access my printers outside my home network. The only one I technically do is the Bambu, because they have an app for it. Team viewer is easy. Yeah, if you can like remote into the computer, a computer in your network, and then access it through that, you can do that. But I don't know. I'm always, especially considering the fact that I'm a YouTuber and I have an online presence, I don't want to punch holes in my firewall. Is what it is. So what else have we got in this manual that I kind of skimmed through? The adhesion of the glass build plate may decrease after a long time using. Please apply proper amount of glue to keep the improve the adhesion. Okay. Warping issues may occur when print ABS filament in cold environment. You may use glue to enhance adhesion. It's not recommended to print ABS filament at extremely low temperature environment, as print will fail when printed model getting away from the build plate. There is a certain quivering on the build plate during the printing which may cause flatness change. Thus, please pay attention to the adhesion of the first layer when printing model. If the distance between build plate and nozzle is improper, please re-level it. It does say quivering, by the way. If printing effect is not accurate enough, check the tension of synchronous belt and make it neither too loose nor too tight. If there is an error in the height of the Z-axis, please adjust the compensation of the Z-axis. Okay. Optimal printing temperature for printing is 18 to 30 Celsius. Too high or too low temperature is not good for printing effect. That's good to know. Should we register the after-sales service registration form? Should register this, see if they respond. I give them credit. It's understandable. You can tell a lot of time they just run it through Google Translate. Do I have concerns about ABS fumes? The printers that I print ABS on are fully enclosed, okay? So my V2s, the one V0 I have enclosed, but basically I only print ABS on my enclosed printers. When they're printing, they're all closed up. I have gasket, like the little foam gasket around all the panels, so it's all sealed up. I don't open them until the chamber temperature drops back down to room temperature. And this room that I'm in right now is sealed, so the vent, the AC vent is closed. I actually have the foam gasket around the door. So it's not, believe me, this ain't airtight, but it keeps the bad stuff in this room. And by keeping the printer fully enclosed, it keeps most of the bad stuff in the printer. So no, I'm not worried about ABS fumes. I also spent 7 years working in a tool shop that built plastic injection molds next to a 3,000 ton injection mold press that would go through hundreds and thousands of pounds of ABS per day. And that was like 10 feet away from me. So if that air was okay to breathe, I think this air is. But it's all about exposure amounts. I'm usually not in here when the printers are printing. How much time do you spend slicing G-code? I tend to slice each file with different settings. I have a go-to profile that I use on all my machines, all my Vorons. So that one, the Micron, pretty much all my Vorons, I have a profile that's good enough that works with pretty much all of them. And the only difference is machine size and temperatures for the filaments. But the actual speeds and feeds are pretty much the same on all of them. It's not perfect, but it works good enough, which when you have a bunch of different machines running different firmwares and their different capabilities, it is good enough. How's the not original? We're going to go back into it on Friday. Or correction, Friday is going to be, so for this week, Friday is print and chill. We'll probably print on the Bambu or something. We'll just get something printed, have some fun. And then Saturday, we're going to go back to the Prusa Mini, the not a Prusa Mini. We'll get that fixed up. I also have to put the ribbon cable finally came in, so we can put the camera in the Mark III. That'll be Saturday, because next week, the Friday, there's only going to be one stream next week. There's only going to be the Tuesday stream. So Tuesday there will be a stream next week. There won't be a stream Friday or Saturday because I'm going to Murph. So Friday I'm traveling to Murph, and I'll be there Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday next week. So there's only going to be one stream next week. This is the Calibration Dragon. I wish I didn't drop this one, but this was one I printed on the Bambu X1 in CF nylon, and unfortunately I dropped it and it broke a horn. But just cast the TV. So I am going to try and stream at Murph though. So I am going to try and do a stream at Murph. It might just be hanging out at the Voron booth. It really depends on the Wi-Fi and whatnot. I really don't know how the connections will be there, but I am going to try at least do a stream while we're there. So. No print and drive stream? No. Can you comment on cleaning VOC junk-free panel? Degreaser. Simple green or some other light degreaser will work. It's oily. It's an oil residue. Yeah, I like the Cali Dragon, but I always scale it up. I find the stock scale for it is a little small. So I usually scale it up a little bit. Is the Formbot Trident kit? In terms of I've only looked at one Formbot kit and it was like 2 years ago. And somehow it's like my most viewed stream ever. But from my understanding, for bomb in a box kits, okay, where you just get a box with the bill of materials in it and it's nothing's pre-made, you basically get the bill of materials in a box. My understanding is the Formbot kit is probably the best one. That's what I've heard. But if you're looking for a full-on proper kit, the LDO ones are the way to go because they got pre-made wire harnesses, breakout boards, a bunch of other bells and whistles. You sent the PM? Okay, let's take a look here. What, you want me to go over it on stream? Okay, here's the mod I was talking about. So how come you're moving the motors to the other side? Like, and when it comes to, by the way, for like, if you want to propose something to the Voron devs, there's just in whatever channel on the Discord would make sense for whatever it is. There's no like official way of going about it. I don't regret my Formbot kit. Believe me, once you build a kit that everything literally just plugs together, especially the wiring, the actual building of the printer, the hardware, you're actually not going to see too much of a difference between like a Formbot or an LDO, even the Physec kit. The difference comes down to the electrical. That you save hours with pre-made wire harnesses and whatnot. Any thoughts on the positron? I've covered the positron a few times. It's open source, but the problem is a lot of it's still custom. Like you need a machine to make a lot of the components for that machine. Like you need a milling machine or something. Like it's a cool design. I personally don't think it's the most practical design. For a printer of that size, there are different ways to go about it. Yeah, you can fold it up, and that's the whole cool gimmick with it. But it's very niche, and it's not like you could just build it with commercial off-the-shelf parts. You need to source custom components for it. The Formbot comes with pre-made wiring? Okay, that's new then. That's the thing, I don't really follow the kits because they're all unofficial. Like, we don't have any control over them. You and Steve should have a build off, put a stealth burner together faster. I need to print, oh, I can't print one yet. It's still not done. Well, actually, it kind of is, but. I've done a few multicolor. This was the one that we were printing on Friday. So this was the one we printed on Friday on the Bambu, on the X1. So this is the Adelina. And then I printed another one, and I dropped the purge settings, like how much was being purged, to try and speed it up. And unfortunately, it caused a lot of bleed through with the black there, as you can see. Oops, somebody just bought something. Cheers, thank you. But yeah, you can see the black bled through because I didn't purge enough. And now I'm doing another one. Let me pull it up here. And I am trying to get the folks at Bambu Lab to have it that you can pull out the webcam feed out of the slicer instead of having to use the app. But we are printing a little wubby ducky because I wanted to try their. That's not a multi-material model. That's a single STL model. And I use their paint tool to paint different colors on it. So, just to try that out. Yeah, you can see it printing away in there. Yeah, paint tool. So what you can do is you can go to the model, and you can paint. So if I wanted the eyes to be orange, you have different options. So you can either like just paint, so you can like draw stuff, and it's kind of slow and annoying. But you also have an option, which is basically the paintbrush, like the paint tool for Microsoft Paint, where you can like, it picks features. So if I want like the eyes to be orange, I can do that. And then when you slice it, takes a minute, it automatically paints it with the different colors. So I'm pretty sure the Prusa slicer does it too. You can do it in the Prusa slicer, and I think Super Slicer as well. Yeah, so when you look at the model now, you can see it automatically, like, it goes in a bit too, to like the middle of the geometry. So, yeah. The duck is wearing a mocap suit. Yep. Did you try to, or actually it's a green screen suit, but did you try to access? Yeah, I tried that, Weave. If you're the one who mentioned that on my Patreon, yeah, I did try that. Do I think Bambu Lab will revolutionize the market? The machine is solid. They still got a ways to go in terms of software. It still needs some polishing on the software. The hardware is pretty solid, especially at the price point. The hardware is kind of hard to argue against. But again, at the other end of the spectrum, it's a Core XY printer with NEMA 17 motors and a high flow hot end and direct feed. How is that any different than a Voron or a VCore or any other Core XY printer with, you know, NEMA 17s and a 32-bit board running TMC drivers? You get what I'm saying? For a commercial machine, it's a big leap. Like, the thing is, the X1 Carbon, the upgraded X1 Carbon, is $100 more than a Prusa Mark III. And the base model X1 is $100 cheaper than a Prusa Mark III. A lot of people don't care about the open source. A lot of people just want make plastic boat. And that's a, yeah. Discovered JP Wires in my local gentleman's supermarket and got one out for you. Cheers. Oh, nice. Let me know how you like it. They actually make it in town here, which is, I didn't like, I've known about, but they actually do just make it over there. No, I want to put clipper on the Bambu. It makes no sense. Well, their LiDAR isn't true LiDAR. They basically use lasers to measure the height difference. It's not true LiDAR, because LiDAR is actually sending out light and measuring its response time. Teslas use LiDAR, okay? This isn't using LiDAR. It uses lasers to measure, but it's not LiDAR. It's not true LiDAR, at least. Yeah, the big difference is, like, another thing too, like, a lot of people don't realize, this is a project, this is a hobby, this is a, I want to make plastic boat. This is an Aries. That's what we're actually looking at today. You know, we're like going on tangents, but they're different machines for different markets. Like, I love when I see comments like, oh, how is the Voron team going to compete with the Bambu? It's like, we don't care. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing because we're having fun. We're not selling anything. Oh yeah, they moved away from LiDAR. No, yeah, that's right. They used to use LiDAR. They're all cameras now, but there's a difference between LiDAR and LiDAR. Yeah, see, they're not using pulsed lasers to measure difference. They're basically shining a laser and then looking at it with a camera and then doing something to generate a height map. Is RatRig for profit? RatRig is a company. RatRig is the printer is open source, but they are a company that sells kits. So I guess technically they're for any, unless a company is non-profit, they're a for-profit company. You need to pay your employees. So you can build a RatRig completely from scratch, sourcing everything yourself. I don't know if you can sell your own RatRig kits. I don't think their license covers that, but it's an open source design, but it's a commercial company. Yeah. Why do people? Because it's the internet. Everything's a competition. It has to be. Otherwise, it doesn't work, right? What I am surprised about is we have how many people? We have 432 people here, and only 262 likes of the smash button. Come on. And we're not being flooded with porn bots today. That's good. Yeah, you can't sell. Okay, so you can't sell RatRigs, but you can source it yourself. Like, I was originally gonna, like, on my V-Minion, all the electronics I self-sourced. Printed all the parts myself. I could have, you can build a RatRig entirely on your own, but it's a commercial company that sells kits and has the rights to sell kits because they created it. So. Forgot to renew my subscription. Yeah, you know, all the bots to bump up my viewer numbers. I forgot to subscribe. That's why we only have, oh geez, 4. I remember when we like, oh geez. I was happy if we hit 100. Somehow, for some reason, the Tuesday stream is like one of the more popular ones. It used to be the Saturday stream was the big popular one, and now it's like the Tuesday mid-afternoon seems to be, either it's a lot of Europeans or you're all slacking at work. I have inconsistent layers on my 350V 2.4. Any tips? Bed mesh. Are you talking, is it inconsistent throughout the entire print or just in the first little bit of the print? Oh, on first layer. Okay. Make sure you're not having, make sure you disable interpolation. Shoot, there's a few things. Disable interpolation, disable your idle current and your run current should be the same. There's a few other things I can't remember. And is it inconsistent with and without a mesh or just with the mesh? You're watching me while on your way home. You better be in a train or something, man. Oh, and turn Stealth Chop off. That's right. How is that? It turns out Stealth Chop, having a different run current and hold current for motors and interpolation, they actually do cause minute variances in stepper location and can cause inconsistent layers and even flat walls and whatnot. I subscribed to your channel because of watching how frustrated you got with changing colors on the X1. Well, luckily that kind of thing doesn't happen too often. Today's stream was pretty good. Although to be fair, we still have like an hour and 15 minutes to go, but can I speed this up? I'm gonna try and speed this up. This is... I don't have a speed set. What's that button do? Okay, I could turn the light off and on. I don't have a speed setting. Oh. I don't have a speed setting. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't have a speed setting. I can't adjust the speed. That sucks. Oh well. I was gonna bump it up, but No speed setting, increase voltage. It's already 24 volt. It does have a mean well in it, so that's good. Give it credit for that, it's got a mean well. I got Rona, so I got sent home. Well, hey! Day off work, yay! Hope you get through it okay. Yeah, the print looks fine. Like, this is like an entry-level beginner 3D printer. This is not a speed demon, speed benchy, you know, YOLO machine. This is, you know, when I'm done with this, I might give it to my neighbor whose daughter is kind of interested in 3D printing because she's got like a little 3D pen and thinks it's cool. That's kind of where this machine is aimed at. It's working fine though. It's quiet. It's, you know, the fans are the loudest thing on it. Seems to be printing okay. Is 0.75 amp okay? Depends on the motor and what it's doing. Most of my machines I run anywhere from around that. Extruders I run like 0.5 amp for like the pancake steppers to like 1 amp on the XYZ motors usually. Are linear rods that much better than rails? I'm seeing they are half the price where I live. Rods are fine. The problem with a rod is you cannot support it mid-span, okay? So the longer a rod is, the more likely it is to droop in the middle. And you really can't do anything to correct it other than going to a bigger rod, which a bigger rod is heavier. Rails, you can bolt them to things like extrusions to support them mid-span. V-wheels, don't do V-wheels. Does PETG have a chance to keep 500 like a pulley? Not sure. I have no idea, Theodore. It really depends on the design of the part, the layer adhesion. I cannot say. In rod, we trust. It's an inanimate carbon rod. Want to build a legacy? I would like to build a legacy. I'm hoping somebody... I know one company has a kit and I reached out to them, but they never got back to me. A rod for Z is fine. Yeah, this uses Z. This uses 10mm rods for the Z. The Trident still uses... No, the Trident is now on rails. Actually, I think all the Vorons are on rails now, except for Legacy. I don't really see an issue with Cartesian. If the problem, like, are you talking about like this style of Cartesian? Or are you talking about like your bed flinger style? Like, bed flinger is not as bad as some people like. I know we all joke about bed flinger. But a modern bed flinger isn't that bad. The problem is a lot of cheap bed flingers are built cheap. So they wobble and they got issues because they're built cheap. I've seen Vorons built really cheap. That didn't work too good either. Does anyone do lead screw and rails for FDM? Are you talking on all axes or just the Z? Because lead screws on the X and Y don't make a lot of sense. I think Snapmaker does. But the problem with... let me see if I have one. Okay. Yeah. So the problem with lead screws, okay, is lead screws, I don't know if you can see here, okay, but this is a lead screw. Now, if there's play there, okay? Now, you have this spring-loaded nut here to try and take up the play, but there is actually play there. So if you were printing and you were changing directions from one way to the other, there's going to be a little bit of, not over travel. What's it called? Slack? No. Slop. There's going to be slop in the system with lead screws. Now, on Z, you don't really have that issue because it's preloaded. You have gravity on your side. But in X and Y, that's why you see like these little style of like, you know, they pre-tension it, but it's only a spring. So if you're printing quite fast, it could still, that depending on the mass, it could still kind of bounce. Backlash, that's what it is, backlash. So that's why if you want to go super fast on a driven system that's not belt, you want to use something like a ball screw. Because a ball screw, a lead screw, there's no interface between the T-nut or the nut and the screw. It literally just is a clearance fit. Okay, so it has to move on it, but there's nothing between them besides the material of the nut and the material of the lead screw. So there has to be an opening. There has to be tolerance. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It'll seize right up. Now, a ball screw, you have ball bearings basically in here. So on a ball screw, there is no slop. Okay, so but the thing is, these are pricey, bigger, and heavier. So that's the difference. Lead screws are the cheap way of doing it. But yeah, backlash you don't want. Yeah, ball screws are pretty much, yeah, ball screws you see in CNC. That's, yeah, manual machine, yeah, backlash. If you got a clapped out Bridgeport, you want a DRO on it. You want a digital readout on it. Because with a DRO, you got the scale on it, so it measures where the table is in reference to the scale, not how much you turn the knobs. So that way it doesn't matter if you got backlash. You just, whatever the DRO says, you go off of that. Because you know when you do this and the bed ain't moving because you got 180 mil or 180 thou of slop. That ball screw, I got it. I found it in the bin at work years ago. That's like a several $100 ball screw. Cheers, Oleg. Yeah, you could do ball screw. The thing is, it's very little return for your investment. Like, lead screw is fine. Get integrated NEMA 17 lead screws. They're plenty fine. You don't need to upgrade to ball screws. Upgraded ball screw Z on a 3D printer is just overkill, in my opinion. Ryan, thank you for becoming a member. There's stuff, Grief, I guess that's how you say it. Stuff's always being worked on. It's various stages. No, we would not spec a several $100 ball screw, and that ball screw is 16 mil. That is way overkill for a Voron. I'll accept the Pantheon crew. The Pantheon crew do it right. The Pantheon also costs $8 grand. Different tiers. They're also running like servos and whatnot. But their machine, you can also, grab it while it's printing and shake it, and nothing happens. Can we hear some specs for V2.5, 2.6? It's a printer. Oh. No DRO on a knee mill. On the knee of a horizontal mill. Oh, for like, yeah, I guess for the Z. For the Z, backlash on the Z, it's usually not that big of a deal. I've never really found a major issue with it. I can't shake my 350 2.4 because it's heavy. They get heavy quick. That's why you put the bed in last when you're building it. So no release date? Nope. Like, there's a specific show when Voron stuff gets released. It's called, Voron Live. So unless this is a Voron Live, I'm not going to give out anything. Turn off interpolation. Thoughts on Core XY versus Crow XY? I've never played with a Crow XY, so I can't really say anything about it. Different designs for different goals. Shake the Voxelab like I would a Pantheon. Don't want to because the print's going pretty good. But we might. Is it possible to make a 150 or 200? Yep. If you want to make it different, like for those wondering, if you want to do a custom size Voron, right? Because you have like an odd size bed you want to use or something, let's go to the configurator. Direct feed. New, give me full bomb, blind joints because it's current year, generic chains, whatever. Custom size, next. So if you want to make a 200 by 200 by 200 V2, there you go. And then you hit next and it spits out the bomb for you. Boom, done. If you're doing a 150, just build a micron and scale it up to 150. How do you get a hold of the devs? Don't find us, we'll find you. Be active in the community. That's pretty much like the thing is, like, I get so many random DMs and whatnot about random stuff, and I'm sure a lot of the other people on the team do. That's why a lot of them have like do not disturb enabled. But end of the day, if you want to help contribute to the Voron team and join the Discord and just be a part of the community, show off your stuff and whatnot. Don't be crazy annoying about it, but that's how everyone who's recently been added to the team, that's pretty much how they got on the team, is they just kind of were part of the community and they did cool shit. Legacy build, whenever there's a kit that I can get my hands on. Okay, let's change the music up. Let's go, there we go. V24 build. There's not even a real CAD of the V24. Why are we still on that? There's not even a real CAD of the V24. Last I know. Yep, and you gotta mill some parts. I thought a V24. No, a V2. The V2. So there's a whole history to Vorons, okay? The V2, the original V2, is actually based off the V24. The V24 is called V24 because it's 24 inches cubed. Like, are there people here who don't know what the V24 is? Like, are there people in chat who don't know what the V24 is? Okay, so for those that don't know what the V24 is, quick history lesson. Voron was originally a company, okay? So Max, Russian cat food. Voron was originally a company. He sold one printer, realized, holy shit, starting a 3D printer company in the Bay Area is stupid, open sourced everything, and that's, now we're here. But he built and sold one printer, the V24. And this is it. This is a V24. So it's 24 inches cubed, flying gantry, dual feed, direct feed heads. You can find it on the Voron Discord or Reddit, but this thing is 5 years old. So this is the granddaddy to the V2. Well, he sold kits for the V 1.5 to kind of jumpstart that. But even then, I don't think he made much off them. Not enough to consider starting up a company. But yeah, the V24 is the precursor to the V2 series. So if a lot of the reason a V2 is the way it is because of the V24, original design inspiration. And then there was the V2.0, then the 2.1, 2.2, and now 2.4. And then the names are names. So it's not Voron version 1, version 2. It's V2 is just the name. So that's why Trident is technically V1.9, but the names confuse people because how could V1.9 be newer than V2.4? Because technically the V2.4, you know, we're on V2.4 R2. The V2.4 is technically the oldest current Voron model, even though it just got an update in the R2 revision, but it's still 2.4. So the bones of the V2.4 are the oldest current revision. So because numbers are hard, apparently, Trident is now Trident. It's got a name. Switchwire has a name. Legacy has a name. So. Yeah, there was no V2.3. So the reason it went from V1.6 to V1.8 and also went from V2.2 to 2.4 is because V2.3, there was a 2.3 in development. It was based on 2.2. And eventually we realized, you know what? It was better. And by we, I mean the team, because I can't CAD myself out of a cardboard box. And I just shout random ideas into the Discord. But eventually we realized it was better to just start from scratch instead of basing it on the previous iteration. So it was scrapped, and then 2.4 was what came out of that. So because it was scrapped, V1.7 was based on V2.3. So because that never came through, V1.8 was what it was. It's 2.4 because it's the 4th iteration of the V2. What is the Bambu printing? It's printing a rubber ducky. More Voxelab, less fun. Okay, well, it's printing. I wouldn't have to fill up airtime if it printed faster. I don't know what percent it is because I didn't have the ability to scale it. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know you could click that. Okay, well, it's whatever. I don't know. It's whatever scale that is. Reset. It doesn't change the percent. It just not a huge fan of the slicer. Which Voron would be good for around 300? 2.4. The Trident, the only way, like, even my Trident, like, if you look, go main cam, that Trident, okay, and that V2 next to it, that is a 300 V2. Okay, so it's 300 by 300 by, I think, like 280 in the Z. That Trident is 350 by 350 by 250. Trident don't scale well in the Z. Now, LDO just came out with a 300 kit that's a true 300 cubed, because they make the motor, so they can easily do that with the lead screws. But like the stock Trident's only 250 on the Z. Trident doesn't scale well in the Z. V2 does. It looks like a flash forge. It's the Voxelab. Voxelab is the budget flash forge brand. the same company. Well, same parent company or whatever. Want to make a pancake trident. Pancake trident would be very good if you printed a lot of big stuff that needed lows that height. Like, if you were to do keyboards, if you were like one of those people that did keyboards, like custom keyboards, a like 350 by like 250 by like 150 trident would probably be really good. What's the ups and downs of a trident versus V2.4? The bed. But back to that question. Seriously, the only difference between a V2.4 and a trident is the bed. The gantry is exactly the same. On a V2, the gantry moves. On a trident, the bed moves. So if you want to go taller, go with the flying gantry because all your weight's lower. Your bed's fixed. Trident, you have all your weight up top. When the printer's printing fast, you got more shaky because the weight's up top. But the gantry is fixed. It doesn't move. So if you want to do like multi-material, shorter bowden setup, trident may win out. And if you don't want to go that tall, trident may win out. But V2 scales up bigger in the Z. What's the one thing you would like to see in 3D printing that would change everything? A printer that never failed, and we'll probably never see that. Or a bed surface that actually worked 100% of the time and didn't fail occasionally for no random reason. Ever thought on trying a rat rig? I have a V minion. What are the third-party extruders? Pretty much all the common ones. So you can do LGX, LGX Lite, Orbiter, Galileo, Sherpa. There's mods for the Sherpa. Is the Trident? The Trident is a little bit cheaper than 2.4, but not a lot. I'm pretty sure even the LDO kits are going to be roughly the same price between the two. The V1 used to be cheaper than the V2, but as the V2 or as the Trident, you know, it's got 3 moving lead screws now and whatnot. They're almost on the same cost. The cost of the V2 came down ever so slightly, and the cost of the V1 came up ever so slightly. So they're almost the same. Will you do a legacy build? If I can get a kit, I'll do a legacy build. Do we still drink? No, I stream during the day, so we can't do day drinking as much as I would like to. Switch wire or legacy coming from a Mark III? Legacy. Oh, are you looking to convert it? If you're looking to okay. Barnyard, do you only have one printer? If you have only one printer, I'm going to say neither. Build one from scratch. You should have 2 printers. 2 is one, 1 is none. Do not convert your only printer into another printer. Will you ever? No, probably not. I have enough enclosed Vorons as is. So the Trident or the switch wire will probably stay just a switch wire or an open air one. Oh yeah, if you're gonna play around with tool changing on a Voron, a Trident makes more sense. Having the gantry move in the X, Y, and Z on a V2 makes it not really practical. Any advice when designing a 3D printed Core XY machine? Make sure your XY runs are straight, parallel, perpendicular, 90 degrees. You basically, I don't know. Remember, I've never built a Voron, or I've never designed a printer. So, have you talked with Vez? I have. It's in the works. Mobius extruder versus the Ender 3 V2 extruder. If I can make a chart of like, you know, you got your speed, your acceleration, your strength, your horsepower. If you can make like a stat chart of everything that the M4 extruder, which it's not the Mobius anymore, it's the M4 extruder. So if I were to, you know, I think I got both actually. Got that one and that one. Okay, so if I were to make a chart, okay, with all the specs of everything from an Ender 3 V2 extruder and the M4 extruder, okay, and we would have a winners and a loser for each stat. In every single category, this one would win. Except for size. Peak when? If somebody wants to super chat $400 for a spool, maybe. And I don't have a printer that can print it either, so. Any advantage to a flying gantry? Lower center of gravity, less moving mass. The VZ bot will be in a while. It's in the works. We've laid the foundation for getting it done, but it's still going to be a ways out. And it will be the, I think it's the 235 all-wheel drive. What temperature does peak print at? Is it like, it's like 350 to 450 or something like that? Around there? It's hot. I would say C1, go with CW1 until CW2 is fully released. That's kind of my thinking and what I've been doing. I won't convert the Ender into a switcher. I might make it into a replicator, or I think that's how you pronounce it. Test an Omnia drop extruder. Maybe. Is Omnia drop the one that? Are they the ones that just partnered with Fadus? Any difference in maintenance? You guys do maintenance on your printers? Oh, okay, well, I haven't had to do any maintenance on the V2 since I built it, but neither with the Trident, so. Maintenance! What is that? To be fair, since this was originally, so this has been a V2.4 for over 2 years now, okay? So whenever the V2.4 came out and was released, so about March of 2 years ago. I think we announced this like around what Murph would have been 2 years ago, roughly. Because the original plan was to announce the V2.4, the V1.8, and the V0 at Murph 2020. And then something kind of happened. I don't know if you heard about it, but the thing happened. So this was built 3 months before we announced it, because I'm on the dev team and I had access to beta files. In that time, I rewired it to a PTFE, or correction, yeah, PTFE wire harness. I swapped out the silicone to a PTFE wire run. I did at the same time, I swapped out the Duet to an Octopus. And I did the Octopus for a review and testing. And then I figured I might as well swap out the wire harness at the same time. And I had to replace the XY cable mount because I broke it. That is the only part I've had to replace hardware-wise on this machine in over 2 years. And then also, the rails, the frame, and like all the bearings are from way back original V2.0. So it's held up pretty good. And this thing has thousands and thousands and thousands of print hours on it, so. But again, they're only as good as you build them. So if you source shitty parts and you don't build it properly, you might not have as good luck. You build these machines yourself. So. Have I tried out G10? I have not, actually. I looked into trying to get a sheet to stick to a flex plate to play around with, and I couldn't find one. But that was a while ago, so. I use PEI on pretty much all my machines, like PEI flex plates, and I don't really have any issues, so. If I were to improve something on the 2-year-old V2, what would it be? It's firmly in the if it ain't broke, don't mess with it category at this point, honestly. Like, literally, this machine is like, I know this machine is 100% reliable. Like, I don't do anything to this machine because I know it works. There's a few things like, you know, the AB motor mounts. Like, the AB motor mounts in that machine are the old revision that don't even work as good as the current revision. And I still don't have issues, so I ain't gonna mess with it. Did I ever relube the rails? I think I did when I converted to a 2.2. Thoughts about getting a textured bed for my Mark III? I could just put my LDO flex plate on it, but it's working fine, so I ain't gonna mess with it. Have I checked with the Millennium machines for the mostly printed vertical mill? Maybe. Do you foresee Voron getting LiDAR camera scanning to automatically adjust filament layout in real time? Nope. Unless there's like a big change in Clipper for support for that, and the hardware to actually do that is globally available with a commercial off-the-shelf option, you won't see that in Voron. Remember, as for something to be an official Voron release, it has to be using commercially off-the-shelf parts that are globally sourceable. Okay? So there's nothing custom in a Voron, a stock custom. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff now with breakout boards and wire harnesses, but none of that is official. That's all stuff other people are doing. So unless there's like a commercial off-the-shelf LiDAR module that you can buy on AliExpress or somewhere else that's globally available, that you can just slap on your machine and Clipper knows what it is and how to use it, no, you won't see that. And I'll be honest, I haven't had a print fail on this machine in years. Like in terms of like first layer adhesion fail where it was like, oh my God, I wish I had seen this before it happened. Either a part might lift off like after like several hours into a print and LiDAR ain't gonna save you there, or it just prints and it's fine. Like all that happens on the Bambu right now is a little pop-up saying, hey, you might have some issues. And it just keeps printing though. You get a little pop-up going, hey, you might have an issue. And I look at the print and I go, the print's fine, hit okay. Have I tried Clicky? Yeah, I got Clicky in 2 of my machines right now. I've seen the Hydra from 0G. It's a full teardown and a rebuild. Is that the conversion? Did the Dragon finish? It's still going. We're watching it right now. Oh, are you talking about one from Friday? Yeah, it finished. I got pictures of it on my Twitter at 3DP Nero, but yeah, there's Here's the dragon from Friday. Do I do anything to my PEI sheets? The flat ones, I scuff them up a bit, and the textured ones, I either put like either a very thin layer of glue stick or some other stuff I'm trying out right now that's not released. CAN bus boards ever being integrated into the Voron BOM? Nope. As previous said, nothing that is single source or custom is part of Voron. Like, unless there was a complete commercial off-the-shelf thing that you can get from multiple vendors, globally sourceable for CAN bus, there won't ever be an official one. That's why, like, you go on the BOM in the configurator, it doesn't have wire harnesses or breakout boards or anything. Don't get me wrong, I love pre-made wire harnesses and breakout boards. They're great, but it will never be official. Have I ever tried to switch to automatically set Z offset? That's something V2s have been doing since day one, so yes. Califos, yeah, it's a new thing, and Big Tree Tech has a big habit of coming out with something and then not making it after a couple of months and moving on to something else, so. Have you seen the 3D printed tiny CNC from Ivan? I have seen that. I am looking into a CNC project though, but it's a little ways out still. On the switches, it's just a KW10 micro switch. Take a look at the Voron V2 CAD and scroll through the manual until you find the Z switch. It's basically just a KW10 micro switch. Although I think we spec an Omron. How does the Auto Z offset work? So, what printer can I grab? Guys, it's a Voxelab stream. Not a ask me a million questions about Voron, but basically, here's the Micron. We'll use the Micron. Desktop. Okay, so if you look here, here's the toolhead on the Micron, okay? We have a little switch here. It goes click when you click it. So nozzle hits that switch, it goes click, and it goes, okay, Z0. And you set whatever your Z offset is to the actual bed surface itself. So you do your home, your XYZ home, it comes over there, it comes down, it goes click, and there's your Z0. Done. Oops, wrong camera. Something that has been super common and everyday in CNC for years, and very few 3D printers use. Yeah, that's supposed to be, this turned into a troubleshoot stream. That's supposed to be the Friday streams. The Friday streams are the print and chill streams where we just print something and shoot the shit. But there's really not much else to say about this printer, unfortunately. If you haven't entered for the draw, we're doing a draw filament giveaway. Some Polymaker filament. They make good shit. I got some of that printer right now. It's great. Link in the description. Somebody's gonna get a free spool. Yeah, you have to set the offset from the print surface. Yeah, and it's always gonna be the same. The bed surface and your switch never move. So you do your original, your setup and calibration, and then the reason for doing it is when your nozzle is different temperatures, it technically expands a slightly different amount. Also, if you do a nozzle change or anything else, like I've swapped whole tool heads on that machine and just hit print right after because it just auto sets the Z. You don't have to worry about, oh no, it's different. As long as the XY position's the same, which it is when you swap from an afterburner to a stealth burner, the nozzle position doesn't change in the XY. You just hit home and go print because it just auto sets up your Z offset. They do strain gauge. Strain gauge is different. Well, I'm going to play with the slicer and see if we can actually tell us to go a little bit faster than these speeds. When is the next members only? So, let me check the calendar. Next week. So, we'll probably do the members only stream next Thursday. So, For those that are unaware, every month we do a members-only live stream. And it's usually the second last week of the month. So next week, there's only going to be one stream. So we're going to have the stream today, the stream Friday, the stream Saturday, and then Tuesday. And then that's it for public streams next week, because I'm going to be at MRF, Midwest Rep Rat Fest. So that's my Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm gone. So the Thursday before I leave for MRF, Thursday or the Wednesday, I don't know. Wednesday or Thursday next week, there'll be the member stream. And usually it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours, we just hang out. And it's a more relaxed stream. You change your nozzle and you still have different Slayer results. And with the Z switch, was it different nozzle geometries? Because if you change from one brand of nozzle to another, the nozzle geometry itself may potentially affect your first layer. It's going to be a stealth burner version for the V0. Yeah. It's called the mini stealth burner. That's it right there. It's not released yet. Because unfortunately, the actual geometry of it interferes with some things that still need to be worked out. You need to go on some advanced settings in their slicer, plus there are soft locks, I think. Oh, and I bet you the firmware is pretty heavily locked down for accelerations as well. Like, I got a feeling this machine is not meant to go fast. Has anyone experimented with piezo toolhead sensors? We played around with bed piezos in the past, but it never really amounted to anything. Voxelab. It's pretty quiet. It's a modern 3D printer running TMC drivers at a slow speed. It's going to be quiet. Like, the loudest thing on this printer is the fan. The Bambu is loud, but it's also cranking 10K accels, 480 millimeter a second travels, and it's an aluminum box. It's going to be loud. You can't really quiet that down. You should see how loud a CNC machine is. Use Cura 5. I've been using Cura 5 for my commercial machines. I've been using it a lot for the KP3S. It works okay. My PIF guy missed a set of left and right Z mounts. Oh no! Only human accidents happen. Does it look like it's got a bit of a Z wobble? I don't know yet. Oh, having direct overhead lighting is super harsh for judging print quality, because this is literally the absolute worst lighting you can have on a print for seeing how it's doing. Because it looks, oh, it looks super good, and then the light comes directly overhead and you see all the little imperfections. Trying to use Cura and I'm not seeing how to add more settings to individual filament profiles like flow cooling. Are you talking about, like, if you want to add more settings, you go to Cura, and then you like walls here, you hit here, and then you got all these extra settings, and if you want to add them to your drop down, you just like add them to your drop down by clicking like that, and they pop up in your drop down now. I don't really use Cura that much anymore. It's been a while since I've like power used Cura. Have fun with the build, Jason. 4 on 2.4 or X1 carbon. Do you want to have fun building a printer, or do you just want to print things with the printer and you don't care about building the printer? Because that street list for, like, if you want a V2.4 and X1 carbon, that's the thing. Do you want to build a printer and have fun building the printer and modding the printer and, you know, upgrading it in the future, or you just want something you take out of the box and print with? That's the deciding factor there. Just moved to Super Slicer. Yeah, I'm firmly on the Super Slicer train for my machines. Why is pressure advanced speed sensitive? It should adjust automatically based on speed. Like it's a... Yeah. If you plan on doing a review video, please check, make sure thermal runaway. Well, I don't think, unfortunately the print won't finish. But what I'm just gonna unplug the heater. I'm just gonna unplug the heater and see if it stops it. Because honestly, I have no idea how to check if it's actually enabled in the firmware, other than mechanically pulling the plug and see what happens. I'm assuming it is. If it's aimed at educational, it better damn well have thermal runaway enabled. When I set higher speeds, I start seeing huge gaps on corners. You're under extruding then. Like how high speeds, what hot end, what material, and what temperature. Where can you find a micron kit? Deepfriedhero.in. How's the top layer? Seems fine. It's just a slicer setting. I don't know. Those top layers look fine. I don't know about you. Your top layer comes down to how many top layers you're running and how much infill. Because if you're running very low infill and not a lot of top layers, the top layers won't look good. That's not a printer thing, that's a slicer setting. There's a lot of things people don't realize are slicer-specific issues, and a lot of people and things that are printer-specific issues. Because you can have a great printer, but if you slice something with bad settings, the print will look like poop. And if you have a really poopy printer, but you take the time to tune a profile, you can get pretty good results out of it. 140 millimeters, 6K XL, Faded Dragon High Flow. Okay, you're probably running into a wall. 230, is that with PLA? Yeah, 140 millimeters a second and a 6K XL. If you're printing PLA, you're probably hitting a wall. PLA can't, because 140 millimeters a second, you're pushing, you're at least pushing 20 millimeters cubed, I believe. Which PLA, that's, you might be running into a wall. You might need to up your temps a bit. Manufacturer recommendation. Yeah, PLA, printing PLA gets tricky at high speeds. There's a reason people doing speed benchies print ABS. Now, granted, this is printing PLA at pretty fast speeds, but... Try bumping the speed up. Speed is used. I'm assuming 0.4, 0.2. So I'm assuming he's 0.4 nozzle at 0.2 layer heights. That's what the vast majority of people print at. Then material ABS. ABS flows better than PLA. But you also have to remember, how much time are you saving at the end of the day? Like, what are you printing and how much time are you trying to save? Like, you can print as fast as you want, but if the print looks like crap at the end of the day, there's no point to printing that fast. So print at the speed that you get a good print, and then optimize. When I printed, basically when I was doing speed benchy, when I was playing around doing speed benchy testing, I found to get an under 15-minute speed benchy, PLA started failing. A Rapido pushes a lot of plastic. It's always hard to say, like, give advice because I don't know your exact settings, your exact machine and everything. 140, yeah, 0.2, 0.4 is only 112. Yeah, if you're under extruding on like direction changes, like a simple test, turn off PA and see and print again and see what happens. See if it's PA related. People say ABS is dead because for the longest time a lot of machines couldn't do ABS, and then Vorons came around, and then a bunch of other custom machines came out that could handle ABS, and ABS actually prints really good if you have a machine that can handle it. But the problem is a lot of cheap printers can't. So people think ABS is poop. And then YouTubers put out a video saying ABS is poop. And if a YouTuber says it, must be true. You know, it's like, you know, the most commonly used plastic in injection molding for a reason. Says the YouTuber. Exactly. Don't trust a thing I ever say. Don't trust a damn thing I ever say. But make sure you like that smash button. Oh yeah, yeah. Vorons can't print PLA. Yeah, Vorons can't print PLA. Like, you know, they have PLA. No, you can't print PLA out of Voron. Vorons just can't do PLA. No, you can't do PLA out of Voron. Nope, nope. No, can't do it. Can't do it. ASA is just ABS formulated for UV resistance. They're 95% the same, and they're within margin of error for a lot of use cases in terms of performance. The thing is, a lot of people say ASA is better because, in my opinion, there's a lot of bad ASA or bad ABS out there. Most ASA filament that you see out there is good because it's not as common. There's a lot of high quality ASA filaments out there. But on the flip side, there's also a lot of high quality ABS filaments out there. The difference is there's also a lot of bad ABS and a lot of cheap ABS and crappy ABS. Go on Amazon, search ABS. You'll find a bunch of brands you've probably never heard of before. So what happens is people buy the cheap ABS because they want to try it for the first time. It prints like poop. And then they go buy a spool of, like, you know, Precautions ASA and it prints great. It's like, oh, ASA is better. No, if you print with good ABS and you print with good ASA, they're pretty much the same. You can print ABS without enclosure. And ESUN ABS Plus, I've printed plenty of it without enclosure. Just print with a brim and use a draft shield and make sure you're in a room without moving air. So plug the vents and whatnot. Could you get away with PLA rescale parts for the Z mounts? Maybe. For the Z, it's outside the chamber. You might be okay. Jimmy, it turns like pop bottles into filament. Fine, ASA doesn't smell. I've got plenty of ABS that I don't smell at all. Like the Sparta 3D ABS, I barely smell. ESUN ABS Plus doesn't smell, at least the stuff I use. It really depends on what brand. It really depends on the brand and what the actual resin is. Because you got to remember, pretty much every filament company doesn't actually make the plastic. They buy resin, which is the pellets, the big gaylord of resin, and then they add colorant to it, and then they push it through an extruder and make filament. So they're not actually making the plastic. They just take the raw resin, add colorant to it, and push it through a machine that turns it into filament. So depending on what they source, for a lot of cheap ABS filament, they're probably just buying bulk grade injection mold grade resin meant for like shitty, you know, McDonald's toys, and they're using that, which isn't really good for FDM. Whereas ASA, oh, they're probably using like NGO or some other like really good brand ASA, because ASA filament is usually higher quality, sells at a premium. You want Lego ABS. Ooh, Lego ABS would be a dream. I've seen pictures of some of the molds that Lego uses, and as somebody who built molds for a living for a while there, they got good shit. Okay, so what time is it? It's 4:42. We're gonna be doing the draw in 18 minutes. I gotta go pick up the little guy at daycare. So in 18 minutes, we're gonna be doing the draw for the Polymaker Filament. This print, I don't think will finish in time. So I'll post a picture of it to the Twitter afterwards. How long do you dry your ABS ASA when you dry it? I don't think I've ever dried a spool of ABS or ASA. In this room, it sits at around anywhere from 24 to 25 degrees Celsius and anywhere from around 30 to 35% humidity in this room. My wall of filament is just out in the open. That's all. That far one is all mostly ABS. This is my PLAs and whatnot. I don't draw. When I printed my hedemames, okay, for the blue filament that you saw for the hedemames, I used this stuff, okay? So this is the PETG that I used to print my hedemames. This spool, I bought this to print my original V1.5 parts almost 5 years ago now, 4.5 years ago now. I used this to print my V1.5 parts. I took this spool and it's been sitting out for over 4 years. And then I threw it in the Prusa and printed the hedemames and I had 0 issues with it. So I'm not too worried about moisture in this room. So I just leave my filament out in the open. The only stuff I bag and actually like vacuum seal is nylons and like polycarbonates and whatnot. Like stuff that's really hygroscopic. Here in the Southeast USA, we have this thing called humidity. Oh, I do too. I'm Southern Ontario, man. We get the humidity here. We get more thunderstorms where I'm at than anywhere else in Canada. But, you know, when I was a kid, my mom said, you know, when you have your own house and you pay your own electricity bills, you can control the air conditioning. And guess what? My house is an ice box, and I love it. But if you have central air, it helps a lot with humidity levels. What about TPU? TPU, sometimes I bet I'll run the TPU through the dryer before. Just because we're at the north end of Tornado Valley, pretty much. Yeah, TPU I'll run. I do have a dehydrator, and I will run TPU through it before I print with it. But yeah. Yeah, I get to 30 in the winter. Usually during the summer. Like right now, it's like, what is it right now? Let me, wrong setting. I got a little thingy here. But it's like 36, 37% humidity right now. That's about as high as it gets in the summer. In the winter, it gets down to like 30. In the basement. It's more upstairs. What Vorons do you have? Yes. I have one, sometimes more, of every model except for the Legacy. Which dry do I have? Whatever one was on sale at Crappy Tire when I bought it. Weird noise. Oh, I don't know. I'm fiddling with something here. I have a fully sealed roll of TPU I forgot I had, and I bet it's already wet, unopened. If it's a Mylar bag, it should be okay. If it's just a clear plastic bag, that is it. That is permeable. So eventually moisture can't get through that. It depends how many printers I got running. If I have more printers running, sometimes it's a little bit warmer in the room and a little less humid. When we're doing sub printer reviews. Yeah, that'll be coming up. So the plan is, right now the Discord is members only, but when it gets opened up to the public, I'm going to start doing monthly, I think. We're going to do like monthly contests, I think. And it'll be like things like share your printer, and we'll get a bunch of them. We'll do like vote on it, and I'll give out merch or something. We'll give away only Benji's hats or something. So. Yeah, if the bag is clear, you're going to have to run it through dehydrator, probably. Voron Legacy, whenever I can get my hands on a kit. Because I don't want to go self-sourcing one at this day and age. %78 humidity. Ugh. What is the humidity outside? Alright, so let's see. Right now, in good old Windsor, Ontario, it is 27 Celsius, feels like 35 Celsius with 66% humidity. And we have a heat warning for the next few days because it's going to be 33 Celsius tomorrow, which will feel like 44 Celsius with the Humidex. Nice. Do I plan to have flex fit hats? All the hats, all my merch is through the, I was going to say the only Benji store. It's through Streamlabs. So I use Streamlabs, or not Streamlabs. Streamlabs is evil. I use Stream Elements. That's for the overlay and everything, and they have a merch store. So I use their merch store, and I don't believe they have flex fit. They only have hats that are adjustable. Yeah, they don't have flex fit. Yeah, they got snapback, trucker hat, baseball cap. They're all adjustable. So yeah. So unfortunately, I don't have that option for that. It's not like I have, I'm making merch in my garage. It's like I'm going through a store. Why do we call Toasty Boy Toasty Boy? Because Toasty Boy is my high temperature printer. And it's a red frame, so it's hot. But we built it. It's all carbon fiber nylon parts. I was going to actually insulate it, but I found out for the stuff I was printing, I didn't really have to insulate it. But it's all ACM panels, and it's meant for, like, I print my CF nylons on it, and like when I'm printing, like, you know, big things out of, you know, carbon fiber nylon or polycarbonate, that's the machine I use it for. So I need the water rate. I just went on Weather Network and that's what it told me. Why Streamlabs is evil? Streamlabs basically took a bunch of stuff, the open source stuff that Stream Elements designed, like OBS and actual Stream Elements themselves, slapped their label on it and charged for it. And it turns out they were kind of like screwing people over in a bunch of different ways. So, yeah. There's a whole thing on it on Twitter that blew up a while ago. Filament I1 I'm using to print my Voron V2.4. Nice! Oh yeah, someone corrected me. Stream Elements didn't make OBS, but Streamlabs took OBS and slapped their name on it and came out with Streamlabs OBS and basically copy what Stream Elements does. Basically, there was some other stuff too, but they were basically just taking open source stuff and just kind of like, this is mine now, and slapping their name on it and charging for it. How hot? I've gotten it up to 60, I think. Which is about as hot as I want to go. I know the X1 for comparison, I've gotten it up to 45 printing ABS. I haven't checked how hot it gets with nylon. I forgot. It's a mini Dragon. You know what? Compared to a Benchy, I like the Cali Dragon more than a Benchy. Like, I print them scaled up, usually, because I think, like, the default size is a little small. I think, do I have a default size one? Or did my son take it? My son took it, I think. Yeah, Calvin took it. But usually I scale them up. Like, I think for a full-size printer, like, printing them at 300% scale gives you a pretty good model, because there's, like, some pretty good overhangs at 300% scale. And you can actually see it, instead of it being, like, a little itty-bitty thing. So, I don't know where my scale one went, but... Don't forget the giveaway. I know, we got 8 minutes for the giveaway. So if you haven't had the chance, go in the description, check the description. There's a link there. You can fill out a form. We're going to do a giveaway for some Polymaker filament. We're going to be doing that in like 8 minutes. So do this now, because I got to run pretty much as soon as the stream ends. While you're in the description, if you want to help out the channel, content I create, things I do, there's also links in there, mostly affiliate links and whatnot. It doesn't cost you anything extra. If you purchase anything through those, it helps out the channel. Yeah. Aside from printer parts, what was my last functional print? The camera mounts count for the printers. Printed a Raspberry Pi box. I printed a few things for the car, like plugs and whatnot. I don't know. Spool holder count? Do I use VHP tape? No, don't use VHP tape to seal the pan. If you seal your panels with VHP tape, you are never getting your panels off. You want to use it's one-sided foam tape, essentially, like 1 mil, one-sided, 1 mil or 1 or 2 mil thick, single-sided foam tape. Don't use VHP to seal your panels. You will never open up, take the panels off. Wall art typography. I need to get more into doing artsy stuff with my printers, because honestly, I build printers with my printers, and I print parts, and I print things to review printers with. I got a whole bunch of project ideas. The problem is, I am really room limited right now. Like, I am really room limited right now. So it's kind of preventing me from doing, you know, hey, let's build a whole Iron Man helmet. Well, where am I going to, like, sand it all and everything? So. Is swapping print surfaces considered a mod? Not really. If print surfaces are a consumable, okay? So I wouldn't consider swapping print surfaces a mod. Can I show Toasty Boy? Yeah. It's behind the boxes that I gotta bring to the garbage tonight. There you go, there's Toasty Boy. We got ACM panels. There you go. It's a V1.8. Time to give away some printers. Problem is, I don't want to give away printers. The problem is shipping. I would love to, if we could just do a meetup and I go, here's a printer, take it. The problem is, I live in Canada. Shipping sucks in terms of cost. Shipping big things sucks in terms of cost. Shipping international sucks even worse. So if I gave away a printer, it would cost a lot of money just to give it away. So, how long has the lights in Toasty Boy been on? Since I built it, because they're always on whenever the printer's plugged in, and the printer's always plugged in. They're LEDs. They wear out. I literally use these strips of LEDs that cost me like $10 for like 10 meters of them. So if they burn out, they burn out. But I've yet to have one die, so. Something a hoarder would say. I'm not, well, the V0s, the two that are mine, and then the one we got to give away at some point. But we'll figure that out. Bring a printer to give away at Murph. Let's see. And I built them. Yeah, exactly. Like the ones that, if I give away a printer, it's something like this, like one of the commercial printers. I'm never giving away a printer I built. They're my babies. What order should you calibrate your printer? Okay, E steps for your extruder. Your XYZ, you should not have to fudge with your E steps ever if you built it right. Calibrate your E steps on your extruder. Tell your extruder to push 100 millimeters of filament. Make sure it pushes exactly 100 millimeters of filament. After that, do not touch your E steps for your extruder, okay? Then do input shaper, then do pressure advance. And then flow to make your parts fit. Flow last. Not my babies. Not my Beyblades. Let her rip. Any chance of a doggo? I've already peeked out twice for doggo. I got a feeling he's being mopey by the front door. He is being mopey by the front door. My wife's on afternoons right now, and he gets really mopey when she leaves for work. So he just sits there and mopes. Any advice what could go wrong if the prints are too tall? Like, they could fall over. Like, what do you mean about the prints too tall? Like, what about Voron kit giveaway? No, sorry. I got no Voron kits to give away. What hot is the toasting point? It's running a, I want to say high flow dragon. Yeah, it's running a high flow dragon with a diamondback nozzle. Part of me kind of wants to swap back in the actual mosquito I had in there originally. What flow calibration method? Calibrate everything else and then print two parts that are supposed to fit together and then adjust flow until they fit together. That's usually what I do. Or like screw holes and whatnot. Eurocube giveaway. Shipping would suck because I can't put them in an envelope. Okay, so you got 1 minute to enter. If you have not entered for the draw, you've got 1 minute. So do this now. What's the carbon printing? It's printing a Wubby Ducky. Why the mosquito? Because I had 0 issues with it, and the dragon is starting to be a little funky. So, do I recommend a dragon or not? Quality has kind of gone down with them, from my understanding. I haven't bought one or received a new one in over a year that I've used. I'm kind of on the Revo train, in case you haven't noticed. Yeah, they work. It's just apparently they're starting to get a little suspect in QC issues. Yeah, Ellis's guide. Just go on the Voron Discord, look up Ellis's guide. Just do that. That's pretty much going to be the go-to in a little bit in terms of how to do stuff. In terms of what I say when people ask how to tune stuff. Okay, if you haven't entered, it's closed. Ooh, somebody got in at the very last minute. Great new spreadsheet. Okay, just get a Revo. Exactly, just get a Revo. Do you print at 0.4 with a 0.4 nozzle at 0.2 layer height 90% of the time? Just get a Revo. Just get a Revo. Do you want to occasionally print with a fatter nozzle and just make it really easy to swap nozzles? Just get a Revo. Do you want to never have to worry about oozing because your nozzle wasn't tight enough? Just get a Revo. Do you want to never have to worry about your heater cartridge or your thermistor falling out? Just get a Revo. Do you want to never have to worry about, you know, while removing a nozzle, accidentally spinning it and breaking the wires, or accidentally going there with your wrench and accidentally crushing something? Just get a Revo. Simple as that. Need obsidian. Soon. Sounds like a Revo shield to me. I've got 4 of them in printers and I'm putting a 5th one in. I have no brand loyalty to any company because I'm on nobody's payroll. Seriously, I don't, in case you haven't noticed, I haven't had any sponsors in a while. I'm not on anyone's payroll. I say stuff that I want to say. They work damn good. Plus, you know, we did kind of design a heatsink for it. That was cool. But yeah. Revo clone when? I'm gonna laugh when clones come out because I know things that people don't. And it's gonna be hilarious. Okay, let's do a giveaway. So, this is the Voxelab Aries. Aries has 4 letters in it. No, 5 letters. And Voxelab has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But it should have 8. So I need a number between 5 and 8. Give me a number between 5 and 8. Do this now. 5 and 8. And Ab says 4. What the heck? Dan, 7. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Big money, big money. I gotta run, so we're gonna go through this quick. So if you win, you will get an email from me after the stream ends. There'll be a little form you fill out. You get some filament from Polymaker. Time Princess. A winner is you. Congratulations. Let me grab your information here. Time Princess, congratulations. You're gonna have all the time to play around with that one spool of filament you're gonna win from Polymaker. And you get to pick which kind it is too. That's really cool. Copy that down. There we go. Okay. Everyone claps in chat. Everyone clap in chat. So if you're here, you're going to get an email from me right after the stream ends. A little form you fill out. You get to pick your filament. And you'll receive it anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks, depending on where you live in the world. Somebody was saying space gray. Yes. If you are building a LDO anything, get a space gray frame. It looks so damn good. Is it possible to screw a Revo nozzle in a V6 body? Nope, it is not, because of the geometry is different, unfortunately. The Revo, for those that don't know, oh shoot, what can I get into? Now, I can't remember what I was gonna say. We're just not gonna go into that subject. No, I gotta go. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the stream today. Shout out again to Voxelab for sending this printer out to show off and showcase on this review. I may do a full review on this printer in a little bit. We'll see. If not, this is not a review. This is just initial impressions. Do some research if you wish to purchase this machine. Take my words, along as those that have done full reviews of this machine, into account with your decision. If you are interested, I do have links in the description for this printer. Again, words and opinions are my own. I haven't been paid for this. I will post a picture of our little dragon friend here on my Twitter. So after it finishes printing, so follow me at 3DP Nero on Twitter. What else? For those that donated to the stream or became members of the channel or donated gifted memberships to the channel, I thank you. I would not be able to do the things I do and create the content I create without your continued support. You make it all possible. For everyone else, I hope you enjoyed the stream today. Shout out to Polymaker for the giveaway of the filament, and congratulations to Time Princess for winning that filament. Again, we give out a spool of filament every stream. I will see you all Friday for Print and Chill. We'll hang out. We'll print something. I don't know what yet. We'll figure it out. So yeah. I think that's about it. Be safe out there. Wash your hands. Enjoy the rest of your week. Cheers.